Welcome. Well, you are at home with Jim and Joy, and you are an important part of our EWTN family. And we are delighted that you have welcomed us into your home. We certainly would love to hear from you, so send us an email with a question or a comment to jimandjoy@EWTN.com. And today we're very excited to have Dr. Greg and Lisa Popcak. They are hosts of More to Life on EWTN Catholic Radio. They are directors of CatholicCounselors.com. They have authored over 20 books on marriage and family. And today we're going to be talking about a new project and an outreach, the Liturgy of the Domestic Church. So I'm really looking forward to...
Other than that, they're not doing much.
Oh my gosh, they're pretty busy people. And they went to Rome, and where they
World Meeting of Families.
With the World Meeting of Families, and they were speakers there.
Keynote speakers,
how exciting that is, and I'm sure they'll tell us a little bit about that. We certainly enjoy listening to More to Life. They're full of wisdom, they're full of truth, and they say it directly and ways that you need to hear it, because sometimes we could skirt around the issues, and they just tell you the truth, and especially on radio, it has to happen in a certain amount of time. It's kind of like sometimes they'll say, cut to the question, say what you need to say, or Dr. Greg will say, this is what I hear you saying, and then he helps them wrap it up and come to a conclusion of great wisdom, ways that we all can be the best version of ourselves.
Amen. We just so often say, they're so good.
They're so good.
what they do.
We say that.
But I'm really interested in what they're going to be sharing with us today about this whole spirituality for the family, liturgy of the domestic church. What is that? They have a wonderful new app that they have there. It's CatholicHome.com. They have a family of kind of ministries and opportunities to learn, and so it's just fantastic. I mean, they're really bringing family spirituality and equipping families to be the domestic church is nothing like I've ever seen before. So there's plenty more to come. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
Welcome back. Well, you're at home with Jim and Joy, and today our guests are Dr. Greg and Lisa Popcak. They are EWTN radio host, author of over 20 books on marriage and family, and founders of CatholicHome.com. You could go to their great website and learn about their app. And they're going to be sharing about the liturgy of the domestic church life and how Catholic Home can help families live this out. Well, they're full of knowledge and wisdom, and especially in this day and age when this culture is tilting the world and telling us what a family is and who we are as human beings and what we are and what we're not. It is rather confusing. We certainly need to be centered and anchored in great, beautiful truth. So, welcome to the both of you, and please tell our family, what is the domestic church and how can we become one?
Well, thank you for having us. It's so great to be back with you guys again.
And it's an awesome question, the most important question, really, because, even the church hasn't really defined the term domestic church. And so one of the first things that we've had to do with our partners, and as we've developed this whole spiritual approach to family life, is really come up with a working definition of domestic church, which we say is a household of persons united to God and each other through the sacramental life of the church, number one. And number two, who are committed to living out the Christian Trinitarian vision of love in their relationships with each other and the world. And so it's rooted in sacramental grace and committed to living out that vision of Christian love. Now, the degree to which a household, any household, fits that definition is the degree to which they already are a domestic church. And the degree to which a household struggles with that definition, and we all do, is the degree to which we're called to become an even more dynamic domestic church. And so we become that by living out what we call this liturgy of domestic church life.
Right. And being in marriage, as we are, we're going to be celebrating our 45th wedding anniversary this week. Yeah. And so I know Jim is making me holy, and I hope and pray to dear God I'm making him holy. And it's that in the domestic church, within marriage and with our children, that we learn to die to ourselves, become the best version of ourselves, and not just walk out of the church building and disconnect from our spirituality, right?
That's right. And so many of us don't know how to keep that connection to the sacraments, to our church life at home. And so in the liturgy of domestic church life, as we're defining a domestic church, the people who are sharing that home, who are connected through sacramental grace, even any amount of sacramental grace, because this applies to every family that is trying to live this out, the liturgy of domestic church life gives them a way to take the grace of the sacraments and bring them home no matter what their struggles are, and gives them a framework to be able to live out their faith at home as a domestic church, as opposed to just trying to put what most of us think of as Catholic spirituality, things that we draw from the clerical and monastic traditions that are beautiful and rich and really, really hard to apply when you've got busy families with kids of variant ages and people of different faith levels. This gives us a framework to really be able to do this in our own individual families, our own individual domestic churches, and make it suit each family while still helping us thrive in our faith.
Well, you use the term liturgy, and you're speaking about framework.
Yes.
And it would make most of us in the Catholic Church think of the Mass. Liturgy, isn't that about the Mass? Framework, we know the framework, liturgy of the Word and of the Sacrament and so on. Why do you use this terminology with the domestic church?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And this has been one of the things that we've been in conversation with bishops about, with the Vatican even. And in every turn, we're told that this is appropriate language to use for family. But we need to define the term liturgy, right? Okay. So liturgy is an act of worship that was given to us by God, right? So, for example, human beings didn't invent the liturgy of the Eucharist. Jesus gave it to us at the Last Supper. And he gave it to us for the intention of healing the damage that sin does to our relationship with God and make communion with others possible, right? So God gave us that kind of worship. Well, in a similar way, at the beginning of time, God made families too, right? We didn't invent families. Families didn't invent ourselves. And the Christian vision of family certainly isn't a social contract or something that people just came up with. It's something that God created at the beginning of time. And when he created families, he built into families certain practices to help them be healthy and holy. And if you study families, you see that healthy families throughout history and across every culture do certain things that enable them to be healthy and happy and connected with God's grace, holy. Well, when you collect all those practices that God built into families, we call those the liturgy of domestic church life. The practices, the God-given practices God gave families to help them worship him and become healthy and holy when they live them out. And so lots of families live these things out implicitly without being taught to do it. But then other families, we all struggle to some degree. And so this liturgy of domestic church framework helps to articulate what are those practices that God gave families to help them be healthy and holy, so that we can take that sacramental grace home and live it out and create more loving, connected, and caring households.
Right. Well, you said, and I think some people, it has to be intentional, right? Otherwise, the world will tell us how we're going to live, or we'll just bring our family orders where we came from as husband and wife into our family, and we think that's the way it needs to be, and that can't be. And so what does the framework look like? What are the practical ways that this applies to every normal household that is seeking to be a domestic church?
So there are three parts to this liturgy of domestic church life, three kind of categories of things that healthy, holy families do. And the first one is we call the rite of Christian relationship, because liturgies are made up of rites, which basically just means parts. And the rite of Christian relationship teaches us how to live Christ's sacrificial love in the home. The second rite is the rite of family rituals, which teaches us how to connect around Christian discipleship, because when families do things together to work and play and talk and pray together, they're learning how to be Christian disciples and have Christian attitudes toward all the stuff that people do all day long. And then there's the rite of reaching out, which has to do with how families learn to care for each other and the world as God cares for us. And so that's sort of the missional aspect of it all.
And each of those rites is connected to one of our baptismal promises of being priest, prophet, and royal. So we are able to actually tap into the grace of our baptism, the promises that have been made to help us to become Catholic, and absolutely find ways to live out each of those roles we are given in baptism, which most of us never think about after we actually baptized our child or baptized our...
Yeah.
And then we have 4 practices that are associated with each of those 3 parts. And when I say practices, though, we can get into them, but they're not things like you have to say these certain prayers or do these certain craft projects or do these particular things. It's a framework that allows you to be the family that God's calling you to be, but just emphasize different things. So, for example, in the Rite of Christian Relationship, the first practice is prioritize family time. Really treat family time as the most important activity in the week, because if we just sort of think that family time happens, in between all the other stuff that we do because we, share a roof and a data plan, well, we're never going to have time to actually disciple our kids and be a godly family. So that's an example. Now, what that means to your family might be different from what it means to our family. But if we're being intentional about prioritizing our family time and the time we really need to connect and celebrate that Christian love in our home, then that's one of the first practices in that Rite of Christian Relationship that makes all the other things possible. So all the other practices are very much like that. There are recommendations for things that you can pray about and be intentional about and live out in a way that's unique to your particular family and circumstances.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful balance. Encounter with the Lord in the sacrament and each other is just so important, and it's something that the church has kind of rekindled over the last 50, 60 years, a personal encounter with Jesus and with Jesus in the sacrament. But we do need a framework. It's kind of like marriage. And now the world has redefined marriage. You really can't redefine it, but they've kind of done that. But there's certain principles, the union of a man and a woman, the children born from that union, the importance of children. And so we need the principles we need encounter, but we also need a framework, like you're saying, so that we know what we're really participating in is sound. I mean, that's why we have a catechism in the Catholic Church, right?
Right.
What do we believe? How do we live this faith? How do we pray? Those kind of issues. And so some people could say, well, now we're doing all of the rules and the regulations. Well, there are some rules and regulations and principles that God gives to us for marriage. You just can't say marriage is this, that, willy-nilly, but we're doing that. Well, what is it? Well, for better or worse, for richer or poor, sickness and health, to love and to cherish, till we're parted by death. And by the way, if I'm staying out for the night, I'll give you a call. I just don't stay out when I want to stay out. There's a framework to this thing called marriage. And there's a framework, what you're saying, to this thing called the family. In the true Catholic sense of this, it's an encounter. We're freewheeling to some degree, but there are boundaries so that we can be as deep and as intimate as we possibly could be. And these items have been here for like ever in the church, the priestly, the prophetic, the royal. I mean, we hear that. Well, what does that mean? What does that mean for me? And what does it mean for me in relationship with my wife, with my kids? And I think that's what I'm hearing you say. It's holistic.
Yes, and even our grandkids, because one of the wonderful things about the Liturgy of Domestic Church Life is it applies to anybody who fits into that definition. So this is just as much for grandparenting families, as there are so many now who are raising their grandchildren, single parent families who are still connected by sacramental grace, either baptism of their children, the sacrament of the Eucharist. And it gives us a framework to be able to say, how do I do this in the midst of this crazy world that's pulling us apart, that wants my kids in activities till 11 o'clock at night, where I have to work 2 jobs? How do I even begin to live a holy life at home with my family? And this gives a very simple way to say, well, this is the framework. How do we do this for us? So I'm not trying to apply what I see the lady on the other end of the pew who has a completely different time schedule and family configuration than I do. And then if I can't do that, I feel like a failure. This allows us to all be able to thrive because it gives us that framework we can apply to our own individual families.
And more than ever, people really struggle to know, what does a healthy family look like? What does a holy family look like? And can I be that, with the unique family that we are? And so this framework, that we're proposing, that we call the Liturgy of Domestic Church Life, gives families a way to be intentional about the things that first make families work and help them be healthy families, but then united with sacramental grace, help them be holy families. So, for example, in the rite of family rituals, the second part of the Liturgy of Domestic Church Life, that's all about discipleship, right? So parents teach children how to be Christian disciples by working and playing and talking and praying together with their kids every day in some small way. So when we're doing the dishes together as a family, we're really discipling our kids in Christian attitudes toward work. When we take time to prioritize real conversation in our home, we're modeling Christian attitudes toward relationship. When we take time to play together as a family, we're modeling Christian attitudes toward having fun. And those are all ways that we disciple our kids. Then the third part, the rite of reaching out. How do we serve each other and our community in a way that's respectful of our dignity as persons and our need and our call to intimacy? So, for example, the first practice in the rite of reaching out is families generously serving each other at home, because we have to stop thinking of service as a service project that we take, that we just do for an hour a week, or when we go to men's ministry or women's ministry or youth ministry. It has to be something that we do all day. So, for example, one of the little practices there is asking each other, what's one small thing I could do to make your life a little easier or more pleasant today? And when mom and dad and kids ask that question of each other and try to serve a little bit more generously at home, that's another example of how we live out that liturgy of domestic church life and help each other become healthy, holy people.
Well, tell our family about your new app, CatholicHome.com, HOM, because that's so many resources there that can facilitate and make all of this apply.
And why did you leave the E off of home?
That's easy because it stands for Households on Mission. Okay. So it allows us to really realize that we're not just a group of people living together. We have a mission to grow closer to Christ and help each other to grow closer to Christ and become everything he's calling us to be. So that's our mission together in our household. And we created this app because, well, it was interesting. We introduced the app at the Eucharistic Congress in Atlanta. And we did it with a 5-room immersive experience, and Greg and I talking to the home family, which they can see on the app. They were done for us as puppets. We had this conversation. We introduced it to families and very small children. And then the next day we flew to Rome and did all the theological stuff and, to the world meeting of families, because it is really deep stuff, but it can be done by everybody at every age. The app is there to help families do this. We're all busy. It's a lot to figure out. So we gave people resources to do this easily, to make it fun, and to help people support one another in it.
Yeah, in fact, the heart of the Catholic Home app is an animated series with this cartoon family that we teach how to live this liturgy of domestic church life. And, there's a lot of comic relief and a lot of silly questions and, a lot of mistakes that are made along the way that every family makes. But we take families really through that process of learning to live this out in a family-friendly, accessible way through that animated series. That's the heart of the Catholic HOM Households on Mission app. You can learn about it at CatholicHOM.com, but you can download it at the Google Play or Apple stores. And what we do on the app, because we believe the Liturgy of Domestic Church Life is for everybody, and it should be free for everyone, you can download the app for free and learn about the Liturgy of Domestic Church Life. For premium subscribers, you receive all the resources and ongoing professional support that you need to live out the Liturgy of Domestic Church Life in your family. So if you've got questions about how to make this part work, or what do I do with this, or I don't understand this thing, we have our whole team there ready to answer questions and coach folks through it and connect you with additional resources that are all produced and provided right there on the app, that you can just download it right from your phone and go with it.
Excellent.
The website is just really beautifully done. And you also have like a neighborhood, you say, like a whole neighborhood, and it looks like there's different ministries going on there. Your foundation series, community, live stream, podcast. How does that fit with Catholic with the app, or does it fit with that, or these things?
It's all included in
All
the app.
on the app. It's all on the app. So we've given people as many resources as they need, and also a way to, as Greg said, really talk with each other and with professionals, be able to say, this family life thing is hard. We're struggling on this today. Or how do I get this reluctant child or spouse or grandchild even begin to live out the faith with me? Or, the tantrums are driving me crazy. Or the young adults or the adult kids are giving us a problem.
So
What
it's a
do we
discipline
do?
questions about family prayer.
all that.
We have a lot of basic resources that people can access and kind of
Wow.
learn with themselves. But then we also have coaching that's available there on the site. We have live stream events. We have both free and exclusive podcasts. So we have a podcast for Catholic dads, a podcast for Catholic moms, and then we have a podcast for the family called Catholic Homecast. So it's just tons and tons of resources. I think you can think of it as an online family faith formation program that's just with you all day long whenever you need it.
Right. And as grandparents, we have an inside way that we pray, especially for our grandchildren and their parents, that they would disciple and mentor and train and raise them up in the way that they should go. And that's hard because as grandparents, we have to sometimes keep our mouths shut and mind our own business, but we can pray like crazy as we see this beautiful formation, like you said, because that's what's happening in the domestic church. The goal is to raise holy men and women of God, because they're not going to stay there forever. And, you're only going to have so many formative years to really have an impact. So we encourage our family to go to CatholicHOM.com and join that app. It's at the App Store and Google Play, and be encouraged and say, because sometimes you feel like it's just you against the world. And here, Greg and Lisa have worked a diligent, beautiful program for you to say, this is how I'm going to get connected, and this is how I'm going to get encouraged, and I am not alone, and nobody has to reinvent the wheel.
Greg and Lisa, thanks for being with us today. I'm looking forward to tomorrow, because some of these concepts and rights that you're speaking about, we want to unpack them more fully. I really want to understand, what's being said, some of the terminology. While it's really ancient and old, it's being related to the domestic church. And so thank you for the gift that you're giving to the church and to families. So we're going to take a break at this point. We'll be right back. Plenty more to come. Don't go away.
Welcome back. We're at Home with Jim and Joy. We had a beautiful conversation with Dr. Greg and Lisa Popcak. We really encourage you to go to their website, CatholicHOM.com. And HOM stands for Households on Mission, which is really important. You can get the Catholic HOM app at the App Store and Google Play, so that I think it's so important for your young family, old family. Maybe you're kind of out there and you've done it and you say, you know what, we got to reset our family. We need to become the domestic church. God's going to help us to do this better. And Dr. Greg and Lisa Popcak are on it.
Yeah. And if you want to be equipped as a family, I can't think of better people than Greg and Lisa Popcak to do that. So all the resources are there. You're going to want to learn more about these different rights that they're speaking about. I'm going to share about that tomorrow. The right of Christian relationship, the right of family rituals, the right of reaching out. And so, we're modeling the Trinity. We're empowered by the Trinity to do these things. And Greg and Lisa want to equip you to do the work of the domestic church. Mm-hmm. All together, we'll build a new culture of life, marriage, and the family. Keep it on EWTN. You're never alone. You're always at home with Jim and with Joy. Bye now.